Many weeks after the New Year celebration, when everybody on Instagram was shouting, "New Year, new me," and when the whole world was forming fitness motivation, even though they were still chewing leftover chicken from Christmas, there was a young woman called Safia Bala, a beautiful round-cheeked Kaduna girl whose body was soft like fresh agege bread and whose laughter could shake a full house. Safia had always been a confident, happy person who loved food with all her heart, especially pounded yam and egusi soup. The love she had for food was so deep and spiritual that sometimes she believed her destiny was tied to that swallow, because whenever she smelled it, her brain would begin to interpret it as love and comfort. Safia lived in a small but neat 2-bedroom apartment in Abuja with her best friend and roommate, Anebi, a tall, slim, sharp-mouthed woman who always talked as if she was fighting someone. Both of them were always arguing like cats and goats, yet they loved each other like sisters. They met years ago during NYSC camp when Safia accidentally poured custard on Anebi's white shirt, and Anebi chased her around the parade ground shouting, "Come back here, custard terrorists!" But instead of fighting, they both laughed until they cried, and since then, they became inseparable. Now, during Christmas holiday, Safia went home to visit her extended family. At the lunch table, her aunt, Mama Talatu, looked at her body and said loudly in front of everybody, "Safia, my daughter, this your body is now like a generator that needs 4 men to carry before it will start." Everyone laughed like hyenas, but Safia felt like fainting because what kind of insult is that one now? She went to her room and cried silently, staring at her reflection in the mirror. That was when she promised herself that 2025 will not meet her like that again. She would lose weight by force, by fire, by thunder, by fasting, by deliverance, by anything that works. So, immediately she returned to Abuja. She joined a popular WhatsApp weight loss group called Flat Tummy Warriors 2025, a group owned by the famous fitness queen, Coach Beverly, also known as Coach Bev Fit Queen, a woman who walked as if she invented weight loss and who always posted pictures of her flat stomach on Instagram with captions like, "No excuses, fat is a witch." See, the group had more pressure than nursing school because Coach Bev did not play at all. She laid down rules that made even soldiers fear, and she said in a voice note, "In this group, we do not swallow anything heavy after 6 p.m. We walk 10 kilometers daily. We send our stomach pictures every Sunday. We drink green tea 5 times a day, and we do not eat anything that starts with P. No pounded yam, no pounded cocoyam, no pasta, no pizza, no puff-puff, no plantain chips." As she said, "No pounded yam," Safia's heart broke like a biscuit soaked in tea. In fact, her soul left her body for 2 seconds. But she stayed strong and even posted in the group chat like a motivational speaker, "This year, fat must die by fire and by thunder. I am ready to transform." Oh, people dropped clapping emojis, love emojis, and fire emojis. They even wrote, "Yes, queen, inspiration, you can do it." Coach Bev pinned Safia's message and said, "This is the spirit." Meanwhile, behind the phone, Safia was breathing like a tired cow because she had not yet digested the no pounded yam instruction. Anebi watched her pacing around the living room and said, "My friend, calm down. It is not that deep. You will survive." Safia turned dramatically. "Survive what? Do you know pounded yam is not ordinary food? It is heritage, it is culture, it is love." Anebi laughed and held her chest. "Look at you sounding like a spokesperson for Nigerian Kitchen Association. Relax, Joe." Safia hissed. "I am serious. I think I should declare national emergency." And they both burst into laughter. But the laughter did not reach Safia's stomach because that night, after everybody slept, she laid down on her bed and closed her eyes, trying to sleep, but she couldn't. She heard a voice whispering inside her ear, as if an angel was talking. Safia, your destiny is inside the kitchen. Immediately, her stomach made a loud noise like thunder rumbling inside a drum. She stood up quietly, looked around and tiptoed to the kitchen like a thief returning to crime. There, she brought out her beloved pounded yam and egusi soup from the fridge, microwaved it and began to eat it joyfully and carefully so as not to make noise. As she ate, she smiled and hit her head. This is the real peace of God that surpasses all understanding. However, after licking the last finger, guilt attacked her like a policeman. That was when she ran to drink the green tea, slimming tea and ginger water. She then bent on her knees and prayed, Father, please burn this fat immediately. She did this shamelessly for 5 days in a row. And on Sunday morning, when Safia woke up to take pictures of her stomach, the stomach was not agreeing with her because instead of going inside, it was coming outside like betrayal. She begged Anebi to help her tie her stomach so that she would take pictures and Photoshop them before sending to the group. It worked though, because when Coach Bev saw it, she commented, Oh my God, Safia, you are amazing. You've lost 6 kg in 1 week. Safia replied happily, Yes, coach, we go harder. But inside her spirit, she knew she was lying more than a politician during election season. From then on, Safia continued living a double life, fitness warrior by day and pounded yam angel by midnight. And honestly, she deserved a national award for this because acting was now her profession. She became an unpaid motivational speaker shouting, No more fats, fitness for life. Only to resume her nice position as a masked bandit of Swallow, eating pounded yam the way some people drink water shamelessly. One morning, after her secret midnight feast, she woke up breathing as if she carried bags of cement up a mountain. She frowned and placed her hands on her stomach, praying it would go down. Yet, her stomach stood proudly like a stubborn landlord refusing to reduce rent. She sighed angrily. You this belle, why are you not cooperating with me now? Do you want to disgrace me? But the belly didn't answer. When it was time for morning progress pictures, Safia shouted, Anebi, come and help me, please. Stomach emergency. Anebi ran in and frowned. Did soldier ants enter your body? Why are you screaming like that now? Safia grabbed her by the wrist and pulled her closer. Please, hold my stomach from the back with this scarf while I stand like a model. If this stomach falls out, I am finished in that group. Anebi obeyed and tied Safia's stomach as if she was tying a sack of garri. She squeezed it backwards while Safia posed like a fitness influencer taking progress pictures. They were both shaking and sweating. Safia gasped, Hey, let me take this thing fast before my lungs collapses. Click, picture taking. After that, Safia rushed to open Photoshop and began editing it aggressively. She smoothened the stomach, removed folds, stretched the waistline and added artificial six-packs from Google. When the photos were done, Safia clapped her hands in delight. Wow, I look like I do 200 sit-ups every day. Without wasting time, she posted the photo in the group and wrote a long emotional caption. Consistency is the key. Pain is temporary. Flat tummy is forever. Remember, discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. The group members responded violently with excitement. Wow, Safia, you are a goddess. How did you do it? I must be like you. Teach us your secrets. Coach Bev even sent a voice note with her American accent that appeared and disappeared depending on the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what dedication looks like. Clap for Safia. The worst part was that Coach Bev even started using Safia's edited photo as an example in the group display picture. She tagged her our #1 inspiration. Meanwhile, reality was the opposite because every night, while other group members were drinking green tea and sleeping like disciplined angels, Safia was behaving like a trained criminal, making up pounded yam in the food processor with the speed of light. Then, one terrible night, the processor refused to work and panic entered her body. She looked left and right like a thief in the market. Desperately, she grabbed a deodorant spray can and turned it into a pestle. She started pounding the yam inside a small bucket on the kitchen floor. Pa, pa, pa. The sound echoed like someone breaking the wall. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Ko, ko, ko. Mr. Hassan, their nosy neighbor from the next flat, shouted, "Are you fighting somebody inside that kitchen?" Safia panicked and shouted back, forcing her voice to shake like a weak phone battery. No, sir. I'm doing midnight prayers. I am matching my enemies," Mr. Hassan said. "This matching sounds like mortar and pestle, Shah." Anebi, who was awake, looked at Safia and together they held their stomachs from laughter so they wouldn't scream. But the one that almost pushed her into trouble was when Safia's clothes started misbehaving. One Monday morning, while dressing for work, she tried to button her favorite office shirts and one stubborn button refused to cooperate. She forced it with her full power, only for the button to fly into the air like a catapult bullet, hitting the ceiling fan and bouncing onto the floor. Lord have mercy. She screamed as she stood there holding her chest, and Ebi fell on the bed laughing like a mad person. Your stomach has declared independence. This button has resigned from duty. However, the real danger started when Coach Bev posted a big announcement on the WhatsApp group. Important notice: to keep everyone accountable and motivated, we will start surprise home visits this Saturday. We will come to measure every member personally. No excuses, no hiding. Get ready, flat tummy warriors. We will begin with Safia. The moment Safia saw the message, she froze like winter fish. Her phone fell from her hand to the floor. She screamed like someone who lost her inheritance as her soul flew out of her body and came back again. She whispered, "Father Lord, what kind of destiny battle is this?" She collapsed dramatically on the couch like a Nollywood actress fainting in a wedding scene. Anebi rushed to her, shaking her. "Safia, talk to me. What happened? Did someone die?" Safia whispered with tears in her eyes, "Yes, my future has died." That evening, she sat on the floor holding her head like a village chief in trouble while Anebi fanned her with a carton. Safia groaned loudly. "This is the end. I am finished. They will come here and discover pounded yam evidence everywhere. They will measure my stomach and it will disgrace my generation." Anebi rolled her eyes. "Calm down before you run mad. So, what do you want to do now? Confess and beg for forgiveness?" Safia sat up quickly as if she heard an insult. "God forbid. Do you want them to drag me like a Christmas goat? Confess, Ke." She touched her chest dramatically. "Maybe we should relocate to another country. Canada is still accepting people." And Ebi burst into laughter. "Relocate because of pounded yam?" Safia nodded powerfully like a politician lying confidently. "Yes, now, this is a security issue. If they expose me, I will trend on WhatsApp, TikTok, Twitter, even on BBC." They both sat in silence until a dangerous idea entered Anebi's mind. She snapped her fingers so loud that Safia jumped. "Eureka! We will fake sickness," she announced like a president addressing the nation. Safia looked confused. "Fake sickness? Which type?" Anebi stood up and paced like a soldier. "Serious malaria mixed with typhoid, mixed with emotional breakdown. Once they see you dying, nobody will measure anything. They will just pity you and go." Safia's eyes shone like a bulb with fresh battery. "Yes, this idea is from heaven. God has remembered me." She hugged Anebi like someone receiving a scholarship. And from that night, Operation Hospital Bed began. They started rehearsal immediately, practicing how Safia should act sick. Safia lay on the bed and pretended to cough. but her fake cough sounded like a goat chewing plastic. Anebi shook her head. No, now, this won't work. Put emotion, cry small. Safia tried again. This time, she coughed like a truck changing gear. Anebi clapped. Better. Oh yeah, add small shivering. Safia began shaking her body like a local blender. Next, they prepared props. They set a bowl nearby for fake vomiting. They put ice blocks under her armpits to fake fever. Applied white powder on her lips to look like someone battling death. They put wet towel on her forehead, and finally, she perfected her weak voice to sound like a phone at 1% battery. Every evening, they rehearsed sickness as if they were preparing for Nollywood audition, and each time they improved the drama. At one point, Safia lay on the floor, stretching her hands to heaven and whispering like a dying old man. Tell my mother that I love her. Tell my father to forgive me. Tell my enemies they have succeeded. And Anebi clapped proudly. Oscar award loading. Finally, Saturday arrived and fear became a full family member inside that apartment. Safia woke up before 5 a.m., paced around, cried, prayed, and practiced fainting 10 times. Meanwhile, her stomach kept making thunder noise because she had eaten too much pounded yam that midnight out of stress. By 8 a.m., they rearranged the house to look like a hospital ward. They switched off the lights, left only one dim bulb, scattered drugs everywhere, put a bucket beside the bed for fake vomiting, and Safia lay on the sofa breathing like a generator with low fuel. And then, at exactly 9:17 a.m., there was a loud knock on the door. Bang, bang, bang. The knock sounded like police looking for criminals. Safia's soul left her body and returned. Anebi opened the door slowly, and the moment she saw Coach Bev standing with 2 assistant fitness agents carrying ring lights, camera, measuring tape, and a scale, she screamed like a Nollywood widow at a funeral. Coach, my sister is dying. Jesus, take the wheel. Coach Bev's eyes widened. What happened? Anebi started wailing like someone whose bride price was refunded. Malaria, oh, malaria mixed with typhoid. Typhoid mixed with heartbreak. Heartbreak mixed with destiny attack. One of the assistants gasped like a Hollywood actress. Oh no, when did it start? Anebi dramatically wiped imaginary tears. Early this morning, she was practicing her stomach exercises when she collapsed as if she saw heaven's gates. Coach Bev rushed inside and saw Safia lying weakly, sweating and shaking like a roasted goat on hot wire. Safia, can you hear me? Safia opened her eyes slowly like someone waking from a coma, and she whispered in a cracked voice, "Is that you, Jesus?" The room froze. However, instead of saying they will postpone the visit, Coach Bev held Safia's hand and declared in an emotional tone, "We must take her to the hospital immediately. No weight loss is more important than life." Safia panicked secretly, but on the outside, she continued shivering like spaghetti in hot water. All of a sudden, from the doorway, a voice divided the room in half. It was Mr. Hassan, their loud, apropos neighbor. Hospital for what? But wasn't she eating pounded yam last night by 1 a.m.? I heard the pounding now. There was silence. Everybody turned slowly to look at Safia. Coach Bev's eyes widened like a satellite dish. The assistants looked like children who just discovered evil. Safia's spirit left the earth, while Anebi choked on her saliva and whispered under her breath, "Lord, please, remove this man's voice box." But the man continued explaining with joy, acting like an eyewitness in a police documentary. "I heard pa pounding noise in the kitchen last night around 1:07 a.m. Yes, now 1:07 a.m. I even wanted to call the vigilante group because I thought there was an emergency." He even demonstrated the sound with his hand like a local drummer. Pa. One of the fitness warriors gasped, "Kitchen pounding?" Another one asked loudly. At 1 a.m., Coach Bev's neck twisted like an owl. She faced Safia slowly. "Safia, is this true?" Safia tried to speak with a sick voice. "It is malaria. The sickness is confusing me." But her acting collapsed immediately when her stomach suddenly made a loud earthquake noise. Boom! Like thunder rolling inside an empty drum. Everybody jumped. Even the ring light shook. The assistant fitness warrior screamed, "Her stomach is speaking in tongues, oh!" The second one said, "No, it is confessing." Before anyone could blink, one of them whispered to Coach Bev, "Coach, let's check the kitchen. Something is wrong here." And without waiting for permission, they rushed towards the kitchen like EFCC agents storming Yahoo Boy's apartments. And Ebi shouted, "Wait, don't enter there." But they ignored her. They opened the kitchen door, and what they saw made everybody scream. Fresh pounded yam sat inside a shiny cooler like a newly married bride waiting for reception. White steam rose into the air like incense from the shrine. A big pot of egusi soup was sitting proudly on the gas cooker, still bubbling gently as if inviting people. "Taste me now, please." There were 3 empty weight loss tea sachets in the dustbin, turned violently as if they were fighting for survival. A little ball of yam dough sat on the counter like evidence number 1. The whole group gasped in shock. The assistant holding the camera screamed, "Oh my God, we need to record this." She turned on the camera instantly and started filming everywhere. Coach Bev turned and faced Safia again, this time with fire and thunder inside her eyeballs. "So, all this progress you posted, 6 kilos lost, flat stomach, motivational speeches, they were all lies?" Safia, who was still lying weakly, closed her eyes and whispered like someone dying, "It's a spiritual attack, oh. Somebody is using my destiny to eat." The whole group shouted at once, "What?" Safia sat up slowly and held her head like a prophetess receiving vision. "I eat in my dream, yes. The evil spirit forces me to swallow pounded yam at midnight." And Ebi buried her face in her palms like a disappointed mother. Mr. Hassan shook his head in disbelief. One group member fainted dramatically, even though the drama was not about her. Coach Bev leaned forward and asked slowly, "So, you are telling me that evil spirits forced you to boil yam, pound the yam, warm soup, wash plates and hide pounded yam inside cooler?" Safia blinked rapidly. "Yes, very stubborn spirits." One woman in the group shouted, "Liar, liar," like a judge in a market square. "You deceived us. You used Photoshop to lie to us." Suddenly, the camera girl said, "Coach, this thing must enter social media. People need to see what fake progress looks like." And before anyone could say, "No, wait," the girl uploaded the video to the group chat, and other members started forwarding it like Christmas broadcast message. Notifications exploded. People on WhatsApp, TikTok, and Instagram began commenting immediately. "Motivational liar caught life. Flat tummy fraudster exposed. Pounded yam warrior busted. Weight loss scandal of the year." Safia looked at the screen and saw her own face crying in sickness makeup, her fake weak voice, and the clear close-up shot of the steaming pounded yam cooler. She felt her soul exit her body, travel to heaven, request permanent relocation, and then come back because the angels refused her entry. Her legs went numb. Her hands trembled. She whispered to Anebi, "They have finished me. My enemies have used ring lights against me." Coach Bev looked deeply disappointed. "Safia, I believed in you. You were our inspiration, and yet you lied." As she walked out with her team, she dropped the final bomb. "You are removed from the group. You are no longer a flat tummy warrior." The door closed behind them like the judgment gates. Safia burst into uncontrollable laughter, crying so loud that even the ceiling vibrated. Anebi held her and cried too. Even Mr. Hassan felt pity and said, "Sorry, oh, I didn't know it was confidential pounded yam." but the damage was done. The disgrace was already flying everywhere like DHL delivery, and Safia became a nationwide joke. It was so bad that her phone refused to rest. Her name entered WhatsApp status updates like 2025 breaking news. Even people she hadn't spoken to in years started forwarding her video back to her, asking questions like, "Is this really you? So you are the legendary night pounded yam eater? This one weak me oh." Even a small boy in their compound pointed at her from afar one afternoon and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Auntie Pounded Yam, I saw you on TikTok. Do quick now, show us your stomach." Safia had to lock herself inside the house and she cried till her eyes turned red like tomatoes. She stopped eating swallow for a whole week. Not because she didn't want to eat it, but because shame sat in her throat like a heavy stone. She switched off her phones, closed the curtains, and lay on the floor thinking about her life choices. At night, she lay awake listening to her heartbeats. She believed the whole world hated her at this point, and she blamed herself many times. Why didn't I just tell the truth? Why did I lie? Why did I not control my love for swallow? Why did I disgrace my ancestors like this? And that was how depression started knocking on her door like a rude neighbor. She refused to go to work and she refused to talk to anybody. Anebi tried to be tough like iron. She consoled her. It is okay to cry. Cry until you finish crying. But you won't stay here forever. We'll rise again. Safia sniffed and whispered, "How will we rise? Who will employ Pounded Yam warrior? Who will trust me again?" However, one Wednesday afternoon, something unexpected happened. They heard a knock on the door. When Anebi opened it, it was Coach Bev standing there quietly with no ring lights, no tape, and no camera crew. She was holding takeaway packs of fruit salad and fresh juice. Safia froze and wanted to crawl under the carpet, but Coach Bev stopped her. "Safia, can we talk?" Safia wiped tears from her eyes and nodded weakly. They all sat down and something shocking happened. Coach Bev started crying too. She said, "I know how it feels to be trapped by body image. I used to hide food in my pillowcase and eat at night too. I lied to people too. I only became disciplined after I broke down. You are not the only one with a struggle." Safia's eyes widened because she never imagined that someone who looked perfect could ever struggle. Coach Bev continued, "You didn't fail because you are weak. You failed because you felt pressured to be perfect, and perfection is a liar." For the first time since the scandal, Safia smiled through her tears. Anebi shook her head. "Chai, this life has humbled all of us." They all laughed a little. Then Coach Bev said, "If you are ready, I want you to come back to the group. Not as a fake example, but as a real woman. Come and tell your story. Teach them the truth and teach them honesty." Safia touched her chest like someone receiving visa approval. "Are you sure? After everything?" Coach Bev nodded. "Yes, because real progress begins when lies end." So, on Saturday afternoon, they arranged a special Zoom meeting titled "The Truth About My Weight Loss Journey," featuring Safia Bala. More than 600 people joined. Everyone was expecting drama again, but instead, they found something powerful. Safia appeared on camera wearing a simple t-shirt with no makeup, no filters, and no Photoshop. She took a deep breath and shared her story from the beginning to the end. She cried as she talked. People cried with her, and her honesty shocked everyone. She said, "Sometimes we lie because we feel like we are not good enough, but we are enough, even with our big stomachs. Fat does not mean failure. Perfection is fake. Honesty is freedom, and weight loss should be about health, not pressure." The whole meeting was silent for a long moment. Then people started clapping and reacting with heart emojis. They wrote comments like, "Thank you for being real. I feel sane. You just saved me from starving myself secretly. I love your courage. After the session, something unbelievable happened. Her video went viral again, but this time for the right reason. People began sharing clips of her speech with captions like, "From shame to strength." The real pounded yam warrior, a famous healthy food brand, messaged her the next day. "We would love to sponsor you as our ambassador for real women on real weight loss journeys." They paid her well and asked her to create a campaign called "No More Hiding, the Honest Fitness Movement." Even better, Anebi started a TikTok comedy show called Midnight Swallow Confessions, where she acted out funny scenes of weight loss temptations, and it went viral too. Soon, Safia became a speaker for body positivity events, and people who once mocked her started calling her Queen of Courage. But whenever someone jokingly called her Pounded Yam Warrior, she laughed with confidence and replied, "Yes, so I fought Pounded Yam and Pounded Yam fought me back, but we move." Hi besties, let us talk heart to heart. We have listened to 3 full stories about foodies, and all of them ended in tears and confession like deliverance service. There was the foodie who married a chef and almost fainted because she pretended she loved food as art when her soul was begging for a full cooler of jollof rice. There was Wurola, who did 21 days fasting challenge to impress people and ended up stealing food like a thief in the night. And there is Safia, who shouted flat tummy for life on WhatsApp, but was pounding yam at midnight like an Olympic athlete. There is a battle between our stomach and our reputation. The war between "I want to be seen as disciplined" and "I am dying to eat fufu right now." If this was a sickness, it would be called food pretense. But some people are not even fighting food. They are fighting fear. Fear of being laughed at, fear of being called greedy, fear of being labeled undisciplined in any aspect of life, fear of being compared to someone else's edited reality. But I want you to know that no one wins the battle they are too ashamed to admit they are even fighting. Healing begins when we stop pretending. If you love food, it is okay. Food is not the enemy. Rather, pretending is the enemy. Secrets are the chains. Instead of dying in silence, speak up. Ask for help. Be real about your struggles. There is power in saying, "I am struggling, I need help." Because progress is progress, even if it is slow. So today, I speak to every secret struggler, to every Isioma, to every Wurola, to every Safia, to every woman and man pretending to be strong. I want you to know that you are not weak. You are human and you are not alone. Drop the shame, drop the acts and ignore the pressure, because at the end of the day, anything you eat in secret will eventually expose you publicly. So choose honesty today before your own pounded yam goes viral. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. What lessons did you learn from the story? Share the story out with your loved ones and give the story a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye!